Another day, another story. On November 24, 1974, paleoanthropologist Donald Johanson was looking for something very specific in the gravel-strewn landscape of northeastern Ethiopia. A year earlier, Johanson and a colleague had made a thrilling discovery in the very same region, a perfectly preserved knee joint from an ancient human that walked those hills 3.4 million years ago. That was nearly 1 million years older than the oldest known human fossil at the time. Welcome to the Tabo Eminent Channel. But a single knee joint wasn't enough to prove that Johanson had found the oldest fossil of a hominin. The scientific classification for modern humans, Homo sapiens, and all of our extinct human ancestors. Johanson needed more evidence, a skull, ideally, and some teeth. So he and a graduate student were back in the Afar region of Ethiopia, scanning the barren hills for bones. I spotted this little piece of elbow, only about 1.5 inches or 2 inches long, says Johanson, now a professor at Arizona State University and the founding director of its Institute of Human Origin. And I thought maybe it's a primate like a baboon. There are lots of baboon fossils there. But as I picked it up and looked at it more closely, I said to my student, Tom Gray, this is from a human ancestor. It was a hominin skeleton from a geological layer that was estimated at that time to be older than 3 million years. So this was a moment of incredible exhilaration. I mean, here it was right at my feet. With Johnson's discovery of Lucy, as the fossilized skeleton became known, scientists were forced to rewrite the human evolutionary timeline. This was an ancestor with a mix of human-like and ape-like traits. How many other ancient human species inhabited Africa? And how did they all fit into the genealogy of modern humans? A half-century later, Lucy remains one of the most iconic finds, offering clues to solving the mystery of human origins. Today, those long-buried lake sediments are eroding to the surface and revealing ancient remains, both animal and human. Animals either fell into the lake or were dragged into the lake and slowly decayed and over time covered by sand and clay, says Johanson. We don't know how Lucy got into the lake. Maybe she was down by the water getting a drink and was taken by a crocodile. In 1975, a year after discovering Lucy's skeleton at the Hadar site, Johanson's team made an even more astonishing find: the ancient remains of a group of 17 individuals, probably related, which also dated back 3.2 million years. Among scientists, the group is known as the First Family. Prior to Lucy, the oldest known human fossil, a 2.5 million-year-old skull recovered from a cave in South Africa, was from an ape-like hominin species called Australopithecus africanus. But Johanson's hominins dated nearly 1 million years earlier and came from East Africa, a completely different region. In 1978, after carefully comparing Lucy and the First Family with the recovered remains of other ancient humans, Johanson's team claimed with confidence that Lucy and the other Ethiopian fossils represented a previously unknown species of human. The species was named Australopithecus afarensis after the Afar region of Ethiopia. Prehistoric man featured 9 ways. Stone Age, human ancestors were like us. Early humans may have been primitive, but they had some sophisticated habits and tastes. Read more about 9 ways Stone Age, human ancestors were like us. What makes a fossil human? According to Darwin, one of the main characteristics that separate hominins, humans, from hominids, great apes like gorillas, chimpanzees, and orangutans, is bipedalism, walking upright on 2 feet. To prove that Lucy was indeed an ancient human, Johanson had to show that she and her fellow Australopithecus afarensis species walked on 2 legs. The evidence for bipedalism started with that first knee joint that Johanson found in 1973. And I said, "What do you think of this? But be careful, it's 3 million years old." He said, "Except for the small size, it's identical to what we use in a knee replacement." The same was true for Lucy. Even though Lucy would have only stood 3.5 feet tall, everything about her knees, hips, and pelvis pointed to upright walking. Lucy had a pelvis that wasn't tall and narrow like a quadruped, but short and squat like a human, says Johansen, like the one we're all sitting on. What sealed the deal for Johansen was a separate discovery in Tanzania of a stunning set of human footprints captured in fossilized ash. The footprints, found in 1910, dated to 3.7 million years and were accompanied by fossilized teeth and jaw fragments that matched Lucy's species. The footprints that were found are identical to the footprints you and I leave in the beach sand, says Johansen. There's really no longer any controversy about Lucy upright walking. The last common ancestor. At the time of Johansen's discovery in 1974, Lucy was by far the oldest human fossil on record. In the past 5 decades, though, even older hominin bones have been found in Africa belonging to other species that either predate or overlap with Lucy. Australopithecus anamensis, which also inhabited the Afar region, dates to 4.4 million years ago. And some scientists believe they've found bone fragments that push the origins of humanity back as far as 7 million years. Although she's no longer the oldest, Johansen believes that Lucy still occupies a special place in the hominin family tree as the last common ancestor of 2 major branches of humans, both modern and extinct. Lucy and her species Australopithecus afarensis went extinct around 3 million years ago. But Johansen and other paleoanthropologists have found traces of Lucy's anatomical characteristics in later hominins, including the genus Homo, to which modern humans belong. The issue was a time gap between the last of Lucy's species, our 3 million years, and the first evidence of Homo, her 2 million years. The missing link between Lucy and the earliest Homo species may have been discovered in 2013. Another team working in Hadar found a mandible to jawbone that didn't fit any known human species. The jawbone dates to 2.8 million years ago, just 200,000 years after the disappearance of Lucy's species. That makes it a strong candidate for being a link between Lucy and modern humans. Johansen and other paleoanthropologists have used similar anatomical comparisons to identify Lucy's species as the ancestor of a completely different branch of extinct hominins known as robust Australopiths for their powerful jaws and grinding teeth. The family tree I presented hypothesized that afarensis was a common ancestor to both the Homo lineage and the continuing Australopithecus lineages, says Johansen. This was, pardon the expression, one of the great bones of contention because there were very few fossils known between 2 and 3 million. Over the past 50 years, that hypothesis has been tested over and over again. I believe very strongly that all these fossils that are recovered in African countries belong in their country of origin, says Johansen. Johansen also notes that it wasn't his idea to name her Lucy. As a newly minted PhD, he would have preferred something more serious and sober, like the fossil's technical name, AL2088-1, which stands for Afar Locality 288. But the night Lucy was discovered, the team threw a little party to celebrate. We had a great celebration that night, says Johansen. We were listening to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles, and the song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds came on. One of the expedition members, Pam Alderman, said, "Why don't we call the skeleton Lucy?" I thought it deserved some scientific name, but it was too late. The name stuck and has become sort of a touchstone. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.